Alexander the Great was the king of the Kingdom of Macedonia in ancient Greece. He became one of the most controversial heroes in world history with his outstanding military talents and desire to conquer. He was born in Pella, the capital of Macedonia, in 356 BC, the son of King Philip II and Olympias of Epirus. He was taught by the philosopher Aristotle since he was a child, and followed the heroes Achilles and Hercules in ancient Greek mythology as examples. At the age of 20, he inherited his father's throne and powerful army, and began a 10-year Eastern expedition. He successively conquered Asia Minor, Egypt, Persia, Mesopotamia, Afghanistan, and northwest India, and established a huge empire from the Adriatic Sea to the Indus River. He died in Babylon in 323 BC at the age of 32. His empire fell apart soon after his death, but his cultural legacy influenced subsequent history and civilization. Alexander the Great's achievements are mainly reflected in the following aspects. Military aspect. Alexander the Great was an outstanding military strategist and strategist. He was never defeated on the battlefield. His tactics and military techniques were imitated and learned by future military generals. His army took the Macedonian phalanx as the core, combined with heavy cavalry, light infantry, archers, slingers, and other arms to form an elite force that was flexible and capable of both offense and defense. He defeated Persian and Indian armies in a series of decisive battles, the most famous of which were the Battle of Granicus, the Battle of Issus, the Battle of Gaugamela, and the Battle of the Hydaspes. He also showed the qualities of bravery and kindness in the war. He often went into battle personally and shared the joys and sorrows with the soldiers. He also respected and protected the culture and religion of the conquered peoples, winning their respect and loyalty. Political aspect. Alexander the Great was a visionary and ambitious statesman who tried to establish himself as a cosmopolitan monarch, unifying and integrating different cultures and peoples. He established many cities named after himself on the lands he conquered, such as Alexandria, etc. These cities became centers for the exchange and integration of Greek culture and Eastern culture. He also encouraged his generals and soldiers to marry local women, and he himself married the Persian princess Roxana and the Egyptian pharaoh Stateretu. He also respected and imitated Eastern monarch etiquette, such as wearing Persian clothing, accepting kneeling and kissing from his subjects. Although these practices aroused dissatisfaction and opposition from the Greeks, they also showed his respect and tolerance for different cultures. Cultural aspect. Alexander the Great was a monarch who loved and promoted Greek culture. During his Eastern expeditions, he spread Greek language, writing, art, philosophy, religion, etc. to all corners of Asia and Africa, promoting Greek civilization and the exchange and development of Eastern civilization. His conquests laid the foundation for the Hellenistic era. The cultural characteristics of this period were the mixture and innovation of Greek culture and Eastern culture, which produced many outstanding works and ideas, such as Hellenistic Buddhism, Indo-Greek art, hexagonal Renaism et al. He was also a monarch who was keen on science and exploration. During his Eastern expedition, he sent many scholars and explorers to observe and record the geography, flora and fauna, peoples, culture, etc. along the way, for the understanding of future generations. And research provided valuable information. The controversy surrounding Alexander the Great is mainly reflected in the following aspects. Violence and cruelty. Although Alexander the Great was a great conqueror, his conquests also brought countless deaths and destruction. His troops massacred many innocent civilians and burned many precious cultural heritages during the war, such as Persepolis, the capital of Persia, and Taxila in India. His conquests also triggered many resistances and rebellions, such as the rebellion in Egypt, the resistance in India, the uprising in Babylon, etc. These resistances and rebellions were suppressed by him with iron-blooded means. He also showed cruelty and arrogance in his rule, such as killing his friend Clitus, executing his generals Parmenion and Philotas, and persecuting his ally Aretas. Ambition and arrogance. Alexander the Great's ambition and arrogance are an important aspect of his historical image. He tried to build himself into a world monarch, unifying and integrating different cultures and nations, but whether this ideal is feasible and reasonable, whether it is in line with the interests and aspirations of all nations, and whether it is conducive to world peace and development, are all matters. Questions to be discussed. In the process of conquest, he also showed an arrogant and unsatisfied side. He constantly expanded his territory, sought new wars and adventures, regardless of the exhaustion of his own body and army, and regardless of the safety of his successors and heirs. His ambition and arrogance also aroused disgust and criticism from many people. For example, his general Parmenion once expressed dissatisfaction with his ambition, and his mother Olympias was also worried about his behavior. However, Alexander the Great's ambition and arrogance are also one of the important reasons why he became a great conqueror and cultural disseminator in history. Alexander the Great is a controversial historical figure. His achievements and contributions are undeniable, and his conquests and cultural legacy had a profound impact on the history and civilization of later generations. He was an outstanding military strategist, and his tactics and military techniques were imitated and learned by later generations of military generals.